going through some humbling times and doing things that you weren't planning on doing, but you have to do it to get by or to get to the next goal. What could I do? I did it. It was humbling. I went back, long story short, came back to CBC. Newsworld started in 1989. They were looking for director positions, and I walked in and I said, I've done live television. I can do live network news. They were looking for national news directors. I didn't tell them that the only live thing I had directed was bingo at a cable station. But, under the B14, that kind of, it was like 2 cameras. So I went in, I did an audition, they gave me a job. They said, kid, you can start. I said, I got to go back to school. This was while I was in school. They said, well, go back to school. So I left. I thought, this is too good of an opportunity to give up. And this comes back. My point is that I went back to them and I said, you don't have anybody for Fridays and Saturday overnights. They said, yeah, that's because nobody wants to do overnights. I said, I'll do overnights. I'll work 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. and go to school during the days. No big deal at all. Time was a real asset for me. I had all the time in the world. I'm thinking, geez, you want me there at 5? I'll be there at 4. No problem. So I ended up, they said, okay, you work 2 days a week. So I was in my 3rd year of school. I was directing at CBC News World, and I was finishing college and directing at the CBC. My teacher wanted my job. No word of a lie. I was very lucky to be in the right opportunity. It was luck and a bit of faith, and they kind of collided, and it created the perfect storm. But if I do say, I do suggest that we create some of our opportunities. Because if I had walked away when they said, you know what, you're not ready, kid, you just go back to school and check us out when you graduate, I probably wouldn't have gotten the job unless I saw an opportunity. I filled a need, I found out, did some research, filled a need that I thought that they had, and then got into it. I get a lot of students nowadays coming to me and saying, I'll do anything. I said, well, do you know what I need? Have you looked on the website to see what shows we have? Have you researched my company? Have you researched what any job postings? Job postings are one thing, but have you got into the DNA of the company? Do you understand the people that are around? Have you looked? Every company has a profile. Everybody has a profile of people that are in the company. Can you throw a name at me of who's even there? It's not just about applying. What I found is that it wasn't just about applying for this one job that was written down. It was about understanding the entire company. I know everything about you, and I just want this little piece of it. But I know everything about you. And that was impressive to me when kids come in, or when students come in and know about what we're all about, what CBC's about, what the last shows that came out, anything in the news. One thing that I tell all my nieces and nephews right now, I said, do you read a paper every day? Do you know what's going on in the world? We talk about networking and things like that. How do you network? There is a little bit of fakeness to networking. Like, hi, how are you? I'm so-and-so. If you don't have anything to be memorable about or to offer and to understand really what's happening in the world, it won't resonate. I know that may be a little bit harsh, but because everybody has a way of, the fear of looking good with each other, right? Everybody has how am I going to look if I say this? I just found that I accept that I don't know what I'm doing. This is who I am, but I've read the papers. I know what's going on, and maybe you can listen to me, or maybe I have something to offer. So a couple points on that is researching companies. The other thing that was really sticking with me, and I've learned this lesson from a group called Landmark Education, and some of the thinkings is from them, is being unreasonable. We're taught from a very young age to be reasonable, to act with reason, cross when the light's green, stop when it's red. Everything we do is to act with reason. I suggest to you that being unreasonable in situations is really what puts you through. It's really what makes you memorable. It's really what puts you where you shouldn't be. I tried to be unreasonable in the last years. I'll show you a clip of a video of what I actually do and the pressures that we do. It is totally unreasonable that I'm there, but that kind of thinking put my fear aside and helped me get through it. Ken, you want to roll the first video, please? This gives you a sense of what a mobile truck looks like. and with a little bit of audio from the back too, please, of this DVD. It'll give you a sense a little bit about what a producer director does. When I started in the business, Ken, hurry up. When I started in the business, there weren't a lot of immigrant people in this business. It was very focused. Just lower the audio a little bit. So this is a television mobile. It's a live pressure situation. We're on headsets like this to about 20, 30 people. This is a hockey environment, but this is the same that you'd see on the national or the news shows. There's a director there, there's a technical person, and I'm producing here. This was in Carolina in 2005 or 6. Edmonton Oilers played the Carolina Hurricanes for the Stanley Cup final, and the National was doing a news story, so this was just some of the footage that they shot. And here what I'm doing is talking to Ron McLean, who's the host of Hockey Night in Canada, and just telling him what we're going to do, what the theories are. Nobody tells Don Cherry what to do. Remember that. But Ron, he's a little bit more. So what I loved about this is when I first walked into that mobile truck in Hamilton, Ontario, this is what I saw. And the passion just kind of raced through me. This is what I wanted to do. Okay, that's enough of that. I want to read you just a quick note to sum up that chapter. It's from a book called In Pursuit of Excellence by Terry Orlick. Excellence in any field depends largely on three basic factors: how well you know where you want to go, how much you really want to get there, how strongly you believe in your ability to arrive at your desired destination. Your performance is largely a function of your expectations for yourself. If you treat yourself as if you have something to offer, as if you have a contribution to make, as if you have a lot of potential, then you will behave accordingly. If you treat yourself as if you have little or nothing to offer, then this will likewise be reflected in your performance. Don't sell yourself short. Terry Orlick, he's a sports psychologist. I got a few quotes. I might get to them, but I'm not trying to be preachy with them. I try and hold on to some of these things when I'm kind of losing faith about where we want to go, and you know, when it's tough days or when there's doors slammed or you see an opportunity. I kind of read this stuff. It helps me. Maybe it'll help you. But this guy's a sports psychologist, and a lot of athletes talk to him and use that. I want to get to the story of Jerome McGinley. Anybody know who, a little bit more house-like, please. Anybody know who Jerome McGinley is? Jerome McGinley is the captain of the Calgary Flames. So Calgary Flames, the National Hockey League team out west, and Jerome McGinley has an American mother and a Nigerian father. He was born on Canada Day in 1977. He has a reputation for being a hard worker. He's a black man. He's a black man playing hockey in Calgary, and he's the captain of the Flames. He's a hard worker. He demands a lot of respect. He's a humble guy. He's a blue-collar guy. Everything that us immigrants can relate to. Blue-collar, hard-working. Gives a lot of effort, 100% every time. Just wants to make it. Just wants a chance, and he'll make it. I have a little excerpt from what Jerome McGinley says, and the odds were against him. You think the odds were against me? I'm only doing the behind-the-scenes stuff. This is a guy who defies everything about his body and about his upbringing to become a National Hockey League player. There's not many black players in the National Hockey League, and before him there was Grant Fuhr and Tony McKegney. There was only a handful of guys that he could look up to as role models. He broke ground. I suggest that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing together, is breaking ground. Whether you're breaking ground in your community, whether you're breaking ground just for your family, just for your kids. And I really had that sense. I had that drive about me that I want to break ground. I wanted this so bad. I wanted success more than I wanted sleep. I wanted success more than I wanted sleep. That's how bad I wanted it. And it wasn't like just because I wanted it that I'd get it. I had no entitlement. There was nothing for me there. I wasn't entitled to anything. It was, like I said, you should not be here. I should not be here. There was one door open, one door closed. I'll tell you about Jerome McGinley. He did a little speech with Peter Mansbridge. Everybody heard of Peter Mansbridge? Good-looking old guy on the national news. Same haircut as I do. So he says, it's a neat kind of book, Peter Manger's One-on-One. He has a show called One-on-One, and he talks to a lot of Canadians, a lot of international people in politics and stuff, and he talks to them and just converses with them. It's a neat kind of book. So Peter Mansbridge asked Jerome, you mentioned the challenge of being a black player where you were growing up. For a long time, this has been a white Canadians game. It's changed over time. There has been black players in the league, as you mentioned, but you're a little different in the sense that you represent a new wave of immigrant Canadians through your father. His father was Nigerian. And the game is changing out there. When you go to watch the young kids playing in Canada, you see Nigerian Canadians, you see Somalian Canadians, Pakistani, Chinese, Indian Canadians. Do you sense that change? Do you see yourself as kind of a role model, somebody who can take these kids on and talk to these kids? Jerome says, I think hockey has been represented by a lot of nations, by a lot of countries, and a lot of heritages for a number of years. And that's been something special. It's great to be in a room and have people from Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, all around the world, and to be able to share stories. I think it's great for the game and great for kids, whatever nationality they are. They should dream to do it and not think of the obstacles, but enjoy it and work at it and think anything's possible. What I get from that is creating possibilities. Doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that everything that you're gonna, all the goals that you write down and stuff, yeah, it's a possibility. If you don't have those goals, if you're not creating that type of success for you or that path, then there is no possibility. If you've got 10 goals, you're creating 10 possibilities. It's just about that, creating a possibility. Knocking on a door that you should not be ever working for. Working for people that really you're overqualified for. All of that whole process and the journey of all of that, all about creating possibilities in my mind. The other thing that Jerome had going for him is a lot of passion. Sorry, you thought I was speaking, but I'm just getting all my stuff from these books. I talk a lot about passion because, like I said, when I was growing up, I just wanted it so bad. And it was like it's oozing out of you that, why don't these people see what I see? Why don't they know that I can do this job, damn it? I can do it. I just have that passion. Why can't they get it? They don't have to get it. That's up to us. That's up to you. That's up to me to communicate that. And all of these things that you hear at the conference, some of the things that I'm talking about, some of the workshops, some of the idea exchanges that are going through in your heads right now because your power's in your listening, that's what's going to create those possibilities. Passion is a big deal for me. This is by a PhD, Barbara DeAngelis out of the USA. She says, passion acts like a magnet that attracts us to its source. We are drawn to people who radiate with passion, who live with passion, who breathe with passion. Your passion is true power. The more you discover and express your passion of life, the more irresistible you will become to others. Now, this is not a sex education class. I'm just talking about passion. But being irresistible, what I mean is that in communities and around people, you do, in the networking way, people recognize people who care about something. And that is what it's all about. We talk a lot about community, whether it's your own community or the sense of community. You stand out in communities when you have passion. And it isn't always about just the clinical, tactical, what my references are and what my credibility is. If you don't have that innate